The rally that everybody seems to hate. Well said, Jamal.
Well said, Jamal.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are in that camp, like waiting for this rally to end. Yeah. Notable items of the week. Retail sales strengthened in September in an illustration of resilient consumer spending.
Yes. So we did see that this week. Also, the ECB cut rates 25 points on Thursday. So it's funny. And I'm glad, this is why I love this segment. And I'm glad that Jamal does it all the time. We knew that the ECB cuts rates. All this stuff is very important. It's just interesting to see it all like kind of put together.
All these things that happened this week that's going on in the market. Netflix beats on earnings with 14.4% growth in global streaming paid memberships.
And then crude oil fell 6% this week. Is crude oil still down? Crude oil fell 6% this week after Israel did not attack energy facilities, thus removing the geopolitical risk.
Yes, it's down today. So it's been down every day this week. Gold hit another all-time high, even as the dollar was positive for the first time in 3 weeks.
Gold. Can't stop, won't stop. Tim Knight and Liz are both bullish.
Gold naked calls in SLV?
I know, you're crazy. Crazy, I tell you.
All right, VIX and VVIX remain near their long-term averages with the election less than 3 weeks away. It's interesting that we all talk about them being high. Average of the VIX is about an 18. Always was an 18 before COVID, but then we had that year of high VIX. So maybe it is closer to 20 now, 19. Remain near their average, which it's crazy to think that this is just average.
And that seems to be my main takeaway here is you're right. That is the average. We just keep saying elevated VIX levels. They're not elevated. They're average.
They're average, but we had 10 years of low VIX.
Yeah.
10 years from, 2011 when we started until 2020. We were in a 10-year period of low VIX.
Yeah. And well, now we're just average.
Now it's
all right. Number 2, please.
All right. Bank earnings have mostly gone well. Goldman Sachs reported on Monday that profits increased 45%. So here you can see all the banks.
So they all went well. And then what? AXP is the outlier? AXP
American
went south.
Express today, not so good.
The rest of them seem to have gone pretty well because
I've seen some of them down a little bit this week, but in general, they're all near the top of the range.
Goldman Sachs is leading the charge.
Yeah.
And who's the lagger? Morgan Stanley is underneath it. I thought Morgan Stanley was down on earnings. They were.
JP Morgan is underneath Goldman Sachs.
Oh, is it? No. I meant the last, which is the lowest is Morgan Stanley, that red line.
Yeah.
Yeah. The lowest is that red line. So that's pretty interesting. I mean, these banks, and they are the first. They're the first to report, and then they're gone. I think AXP was the tail of the banks, wasn't it?
Tail of the banks.
Yeah. Well.
Okay. So next slide, please. OKLO.
Look at this. He's totally playing into you, Jenny.
OKLO day-to-day percent change. OKLO is up 164% in 1 month on news that Amazon, Microsoft, and Google are all interested in small nuclear reactors of AI energy. Yes, it's been a bonkers week for OKLO. Will it keep going?
Is this day one
of the nuclear energy craze?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, is this? Look at OKLO was not. It was a SPAC. Our YouTube people were telling us this. It's a SPAC. And now OKLO is like the belle of the ball.
I know.
And none of the other ones are, CCJ is up, but that's uranium. And you're getting that UUUU, which hasn't participated.
It's barely up. It's OKLO. OKLO is the one that's really, really seeing the...
And it's got a catchy name, OKLO.
Up to 1930 now, up 350.
Yeah.
Everyone wants in on the game.
And stuff won't stop.
Everyone wants in on the game.
It's been up there before. When it first IPO'd, it shot up to what, 18?
The highest it got was 1880.
So. Yeah, 1880. So, act like you've been here before, because we were. And then it came right back down.
It's interesting. I said I was not going to sell my stock, but I did and turned it into just call debit spreads.
I'm pretty sure you're the breaking news on OKLO. You're the one who broke it onto the scene, the tastylive scene, because with your brother.
I brought the article about the company. This was back in March.
Yeah, you broke this. And we wrote it down, by the way, by the by.
And I experienced some pain because people would be like, oh, that OKLO. It was 10 10 and it got down to 8 or 6. And we did experience some pain. It took a little while for it to make a roaring company.
Yeah, but you broke this onto the tastylive scene, Jenny Andrews.
Well,
how does it feel?
I wish I had more. Okay, next up, please.
Okay, so then what is this? There are many liquid ETFs that are flashing IVRs of 30 and above. Okay, yeah. I like a little chart like this, 30 and above, so we can see the 30 mark, and you can get it above. Oh, yeah.
XLB, XLI, XLP. There's a lot, but what's interesting here, we're seeing high IVRs, but Jamal said the VIX is average. Yeah, yes, we're, I guess, average VIX, but we're seeing high IVRs everywhere, and the VIX at 19, 20 does seem high to us.
So you want to go IV rank is high and IV high. So Smash seems to be the outlier, but that makes sense. It's got a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of choices. Lots of choices here. So when we're in the middle of earnings season, but people might not see us making too many earnings trades, it's because we have high rank across the board.
I rank across the board. And when it's across the board, it's easier to stay that way.
The rally that seemed...
I'm glad we got into this because this is pretty eye-opening to me.
All right, so SPX forward curve, macro event.
Okay, this is where you lose me, Jamal.
We've got the different times on here, and he's going forward. So you're seeing we're going into October, November, what's going on, different earnings.
This is awesome.
The forward volatility curve over the next couple of weeks is highlighted by the big difference between election day and Fed day. So...
Okay, so you got Google, Tesla, Amazon next week, right? Mm-hmm. Then you got JOLTS, GDP, PCE, yeah, you know me, NFP, Apple, Meta, Microsoft. That's a big week. Like these are 2 big weeks. Then you've got the election.
Then you have the election.
And no one is doing any reporting of earnings over that election. Do you see that?
Right. Well, then is earnings almost over? Why
Probably.
Are we wrapping up?
I mean, then it's going to be Lulu, but he's not going to write Lulu in there.
Yeah. And we've got the Fed.
Because, well, he's got NVIDIA all the way over. NVIDIA is the end of November like 19th or 18th. This is a pretty cool chart.
Jamal, you're welcome on our show every week.
So the forward volatility curve over the next couple of weeks is highlighted by the big difference between election day and Fed day.
Forward volatility curve.
So he put the forward volatility curve on with all these events. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, very cool. All right, and final slide.
Does that give you any trade ideas? No. Okay, from there.
All right, in closing, ASML's 65 billion plunge. I want to see where that is today. You can keep reading because...
Okay, ASML's $65 billion plunge on Monday shows the diverging fortunes of chip makers with regard to AI technology.
It popped up today, 20, it's up $24, it's up to $724. So.
Yeah, but it's still had the plunge protection team is trying, but they're not doing much to it. Okay, Uber explored a $20 billion bid for Expedia. I called you on this.
I know.
As a way to tap into new growth. Yes.
Apple rose to an all-time high on optimism that the new AI iPhone will lead to increased sales.
Yes, and then Walgreens Boots Alliance closing 1,200, 14% of its U.S. stores to offset a weak demand. Okay, that's...
Walgreens had a little bit of a rally this week from about 9 to 10.50.
I mean, that's a big...
Yeah.
Big move for you, little WBA.
All right, Boeing turning to major banks on Wall Street for funds to withstand striking workers and operational setbacks. That doesn't sound good for Boeing.
What is Boeing doing?
And
because we have a Boeing position.
It's down 50 cents, so not much. It rallied this week, went from about 145 to 154, so it had about a $10 move this week. Today, it's mostly unchanged.
Yeah, so that's not that big of a move for Boeing. And then Qualcomm, which is what Vanetta talked about this morning. Qualcomm decides to postpone its purchase of Intel until after the November election.
Oh, well then I guess I need to keep my Intel position.
This is why I said this with such exclamation point.